I feel like this whole Asmongold situation has really reached a critical mass for the people foaming at the mouth about, Asmongold's statements about, I believe it was about Quarta, Italy, where, just a quick recap, this is going on in Cuerta, where thousands and thousands of people are basically invading this city in Spain. It's in Africa. I'm sure everybody's seen the hundreds and hundreds of posts that's going on. I'm just using this as reference. Oh, here's a good one.
North African enclave in Morocco.
Perfect. This is a great recap of just exactly, what was going on. This was absolutely like an invasion, definitely. And Asmongold had some choice words about all this going on. It's just kind of nuts to me how people really can't see like the downstream effects of this. Like people are literally just saying like the immediate thing, yeah, shooting children is bad. Like, no shit, Sherlock, we're not just going out there fucking gunning down children. And like clearly, absolutely clearly, nobody is saying go and just fucking kill children, just for the hell of it. And it's like, no, that's not what we were saying. And in fact, a lot of this that you can see, like, these are grown adults. These are grown adults that have, invaded this city. The vast majority of people that are coming over are not children. I think Asmongold's got a pretty good point, and it's like, if people just so happen to be children, it's like, yeah, I think this is a situation where maybe the chain gun is necessary. And the fact that the governments aren't willing to protect the citizens in this situation is absolutely mind-boggling. And I sort of, like, I want to work through the entire process, because most people are only looking at step one. Well, there's a lot more than just the first step of, yeah, let's just shoot everybody that is coming over the border. Let's do a mental exercise of what the downstream effects of letting all this in, where people were, clearly robbing, committing crimes, breaking in windows. They're causing all sorts of havoc. Asmongold's response to this is just, maybe we need to start bringing out the chain guns. And, the people's visual reactions is just, it really is, like, this is brain rot at the highest level. So, okay, let's go through all this. Like, here's an exercise in critical thinking. Provided to you by me, no one special. This is one of an overwhelming amount of stupid people that are getting in on this. Like, this is just one example of probably thousands. The specific person says, shit he said was disgusting. This better be permanent, because someone like this does not deserve a platform. Control of deleting children? Yes, that is a very bad thing. However, things don't exist in a vacuum. Fact is, there is a lot of people coming over, in this specific city, and yes, I absolutely think that Spain should have used way more violent actions in order to repel this obvious invasion. Asmongold said, yeah, just shoot them. anybody that comes over the border, the men, the women, the children, just shoot them. And, by showing that you aren't going to allow this and that you are going to use, um, life-threatening force, that this would stop immediately. I'm gonna use those words instead of shooting. Life-threatening force. That's a good one. Yes, and if you used violent, if you use, I'm not gonna call it violent. If you use life-threatening force to stop an invasion like this from happening, yes, it will stop almost absolutely immediately. And yes, you don't hold back when it comes to anyone. Is it unfortunate that it would possibly have to come to that? Yes, absolutely. This is very unfortunate that Spain isn't defending its borders, because now with all these people running rampant in the city, do you think the city can just support all these people that came in? No. No, absolutely not. And I think the video evidence, especially from people like, Nick Shirley and people of taking photos, this city was clearly not equipped to handle all these people coming over, and nor should the city just start accepting anybody who's just coming over in huge and massive amounts. So yes, I firmly believe that extreme force would be necessary to remove these people. Like, I don't think that's an insane thing. I don't think that's an insane thing to say. And use that force against anybody who's stupid enough to try and invade another country. Like, what do you think would happen if you just walked into communist China or Russia? Or if you just tried to go in, I don't know, North Korea? Do you think these countries would just let you go? I don't think so. And I don't think Western countries should have to put up with it either. But let's keep going with the downstream effects of this, because I don't know what I was streaming, but when I replied to it, when I replied to these people, I was like, you know what? There's evidence of exactly what this leads to. So let's go over some of the evidence that we saw in the deep past, and some of the evidence that we saw in modern history. So I said, letting thousands of people flood the city around the world because people like you don't have the moral fortitude and critical thinking skill to see the downstream effects of this is disgusting. And I mean that. These people are so stupid that they can't see beyond step one. I have never heard of somebody talk about the other issues that's happening. Like, okay, what happens after these people get in the country? Well, by choosing to do nothing about these invasions, governments endanger their citizens. We saw this happen clearly in Puerto Spain. And I have said, useful idiots like you spread suicidal empathy to the point where around the globe, I would say people are handing their governments freely over to foreigners. They make special rules for themselves, enact Sharia law, steal from taxpayers, influence government to the point where Muslims can stab a white person, call him racist, and then that white man is bleeding out and the white man gets arrested, not the Muslim. That was Henry Novak's case, by the way. Like, this is stuff that actually happened. We've also seen exactly what happens in when these people stay here. You've seen exactly what happens in Minnesota. These people defraud the government. 86% of Somali Americans are on welfare, some sort of welfare. A lot of Somalians have stolen and defrauded the government. And in Massachusetts, there is a bill that is being passed in Massachusetts right now. I hope to God it doesn't pass, but the bill creates a special council in Massachusetts that is only Muslims. Now, if you know your Constitution at all, this violates the separation of church and state in the First Amendment. However, Massachusetts is still looking to push this law into effect. They're looking to create this this council. You know what? I have the post. I'm gonna find it.
Our next clip, it's switching gears a little bit, but it's news out of Massachusetts. I just want to give you a little bit of background right before we throw this on. Massachusetts passed Senate Bill 2134, which is titled An Act Promoting the Civil Rights and Inclusion of American Muslims in the Commonwealth. So, this bill establishes a permanent 11-member state commission focused on the status of American Muslims in Massachusetts.
What? Okay, yeah, hold on. Let me get comfortable. What are you saying? There's a bill with 11 members who are doing what?
It's a state commission that focuses on the status of American Muslims in Massachusetts. And what they would do is they would research discrimination and anti-Muslim sentiment, evaluate state policies regarding civil rights and hate crimes, advise state agencies, publish annual reports, and recommend qualified Muslim Americans for appointment positions in local and state government. So we have a little reaction clip, and I've got to show it to you. So guys, can we throw in SOT 5?
Whatever happened to the separation of church and state?
Yeah, whatever happened to separation of church and state? Like, this shit is actually happening. And you know what? Like, this has happened before. Muslims taking over, invasions, tons of immigrants pouring into Western countries. This has all happened before. This all happened once before the Dark Ages. Modern day, the Dark Ages. Wow, it looks strikingly similar, but you know what? Let's actually listen to a smart person's recounting of the Dark Ages and see how and why these two situations are so similar.
This was the birth of the Caliph and the Caliphate. The term Caliphate refers to the dual political and religious state under Muslim laws, and the leader of a caliphate is called a caliph, which is similar in meaning to a king or emperor. During the height of the Caliphate, their conquest included the Middle East, Northern Africa, and Southern Europe. The religion of Islam was adopted and spread to the areas under the caliph's control, or emperor.
Wow. So you mean during the Dark Ages, the Muslim caliph spread to all over Western Europe and Asia, and basically as far as they could reach control. Wow. Wow, that's really something. Man, it's not exactly like something that's happening today. No, don't believe your lying eyes.
The Caliphate, their
There's a funny
conquest
little
included
fact
the
after
Middle
this.
East,
I don't wanna get
Northern
to it.
Africa, and Southern Europe. The religion of Islam was adopted and spread to the areas under the caliph's control. However, the general population was not necessarily required to follow it in that period of history. The Caliphate Empire tried to extend into Europe, but it soon found that they were no match for the Germanic tribes that had adopted the military tactics of the Roman Empire. The Muslim army did have some success, however.
All right, so what they're saying is, The caliphate in the Dark Ages expanded into Europe, and by the time they got to Germany, Germany was way too crazy, and the Germanic tribes basically destroyed and beat up the caliphate in the Dark Ages. And sent them packing. Wow. Who knew Germany could have been so based? Now, Germany is just handing their government over to them. Germany is straight up handing their government over to Muslim people. And this is happening in America too. Like, the crazy part is that this is happening. The crazy part is that average Americans are just letting it happen. They're just letting people invade their country. They're letting their citizens get stabbed. They're letting their citizens get robbed blind. And when it happens, a lot of these people just get let go. Everybody knows about the criminals in New York that have been in and out of prison 47 times. We've all heard the stories. We've all seen a few of them, like perhaps the firebombing on a New York train. We've also seen the stabbing of the Aruna, I forget her last name. It clearly happened with the Henry Novick case in Britain. There have been many violent attacks by Muslim radical groups in Europe, along with the rape reports that came out. And people are just dismissing it, like, oh no, that's a bunch of alt-right-wing propaganda, far-right-wing propaganda, that, you're a Nazi if you you're a Nazi if you believe that. And just the brain meltdown is just, it's incredibly profound, and it's just really crazy to me that these absolute retards, they can't see past the first step. They can't see past that their government is literally being taken over.
A state commission that focuses on the status of American Muslims in Massachusetts. And what they would do is they would research discrimination and anti-Muslim sentiment, evaluate state policies regarding civil rights and hate crimes, advise state agencies, publish annual reports, and recommend qualified Muslim Americans for appointment positions in local and state government. So we have a little reaction clip.
This is what this leads to. This is what just letting a bunch of immigrants in your country leads to. This is very clearly and very obviously a separation of church and state issue. We've seen the violent crimes happen in Europe and in America, and we've seen the tactics that people use to try and completely disregard and dismiss this whole replacement theory idea. To me, it's truly appalling that these useful idiots just can't see past the first step. And they can't see any of the reasoning why people might not be for this. Alright, I guess that's all I have to say about this one. I feel like I went over everything. I'm no one special. I like to actually use some real world examples to support my opinions, not just go off on a handle. Use emotional thinking to denounce anything that might even sound bad. That is the worst outro I think I've ever had. I gotta work on that. Later, the internet. Hi, I'm no one special, just a voice on the internet. But I command you to subscribe and follow me, or suffer 1,000 years of torment.